What's going on, fellas? So no matter who you are and no matter what you achieve in life, you will face from time to time, at certain times, disrespect. And actually, the more you achieve in life, the more disrespect you will run into. Now, what that means is disrespect is universal and it's inevitable. So you can't get around it. So the best thing you can do is learn how to handle it and learn how to deal with it. Because if you don't, and you choose to react and act out on your feelings because somebody disrespected you, it would always lead to trouble. And it would always lead you to a place to where you ultimately regret. All right, G. Now, there's three type of ways or scenarios or situations where people disrespect you. And we're going to talk about this and I'm going to get deep on this. But first, I want to give you the power and the superpower to handling disrespect like a G. All right, now, the first way or situation or place you get disrespect is online. All right, and we will call this your online trolls, your faceless accounts, your people who have nothing to do. They sitting in the basement at their grandma's house eating Cheetos and playing Fortnite. All right, I think that's what they play. All right, G, no offense to the guys who play Fortnite. So we got online disrespect. Next thing we got is interpersonal. All right, guys, this is going to be your personal relationships. Whether that's with women, I'm sure a lot of you guys need to understand that today. Whether that's with friends, family, so on and so forth. And then we got your workplace disrespect. And this is when you get criticism. Sometimes it's constructive, sometimes it's not. But this is when you get hate, criticism, shade, salt from people you work with, mainly your boss. And we're going to get into that too. But fellas, first thing I want to say, let me get this out the way. Disclaimer. There's a difference between genuine constructive criticism and outright disrespect. All right, guys, first thing, so you can't be all in your feelings just because somebody checked you and gave you some good advice. Now, you can tell at some point whether somebody is really trying to help or they're trying to patronize you or make you look dumb or embarrass you or anything of that nature. All right, guys, so you got to understand this. So there is a difference, but you can't get so easily offended just because you got corrected. All right, now, obviously, you got to pay attention to who you're being corrected from. Because if there's somebody who has no justification or they're not even qualified to correct you, you probably should take what they say. But remember, at a certain point, you should take it with a grain of salt. But as a man, you got to get used to constructive criticism. A lot of men are so easily offended, G. And it's sad because if you can't take criticism, you can't get better. But we're going to talk about how to handle disrespect today. All right, now, what's the secret power to handling disrespect? All right, the power is the ability to ignore people. Because, fellas, I understand when anybody disrespect, no matter who it is, I understand immediately you get a rush of emotions. And the reason why I understand this, because I'm a former crash out. G, I'm retired. But when people disrespect you, like I said, you get a rush of emotions. Depending on who it is, it might frustrate you. It might piss you off. It might make you sad, depending on who said it. Sometimes it's your girl. But regardless of the fact, G, you can't let it cloud your vision. And you can't let it cloud your judgment, because if you do, you will make impulsive decisions that you will later, like I said, regret. And I want to be clear about something before I move on. This is not to say that you should not have the capability to instill fear in people with force and rage if they step out of line. Because sometimes, G, you gotta crash out. Now, I'm not saying in a way where it's gonna get you in trouble. I want to be specific about crashing out. Because some of you guys just think it's yelling and screaming and throwing stuff and knocking somebody out. No. Sometimes you gotta pull people aside and look them in the eyes and scare the shit out of them to get them to understand that you ain't playing no games. Sometimes you gotta make an example out of people, G. That's the game, because if you ignore people your whole life, people gonna run over you and they gonna use this for weakness, just like they use kindness for weakness. So you got to use your judgment. That's why I said emotional control. So when you get this rush of emotions, when people disrespect you, stop, pause. What are they trying to say to me? Who is this talking to me? Why am I feeling how I'm feeling about what they saying to me? Before you say anything or you react. And that's going to be able to tell you how to react. All right, G? But let's get into it. So, online disrespect. I get this a lot. I'm not going to lie. I get online disrespect a lot. And the reason why is because what I found out, if you are a person who are trying to help people in today's world, you will get a lot of hate. Now, if you're a person who just trying to entertain people, you probably won't get a lot of hate. But if you're actually genuinely trying to help people on any level in life, people, you will get hate. Why? Because people love negativity. And also, when somebody sees that somebody's doing something that they're not, and this isn't anything in life. So this is what you got to understand about disrespect and hate as well. If you're getting disrespect from somebody, you cannot take it personal, whether it's online, interpersonal, or workplace. But when it comes to online, especially, sometimes sometimes interpersonal and workplace, it may be personal, but online, 9 times out of 10, it's never personal, because 9 times out of 10, the person does not know you, G. That's what you got to understand. All right, so how do you handle this type of disrespect like a G? They don't fucking know you, bro. So how can they say anything about you of value that even means anything unless it's critiquing your work or what you say or the fact that you don't know how to spell like myself? If it ain't anything like that, they really don't have anything to say. And if it's pertaining to your work, you probably can take something from it and get better. But if they're outright disrespecting you, the move is to ignore them. Simple as that. Now, there's another move that you can make, and that's the humor move. I write this down just in case some of you guys couldn't understand me based on my accent. But you can make the humor move, which is a power move as well, and just laugh it off or make a joke and agree with them and make them feel like you ain't even bothered by what they said, which you really shouldn't be. But if you want to get them to shut up and just go away, just laugh with them, G. Most people who want to disrespect you, they usually want to get a reaction out of you. So if you're going to give them a reaction, just laugh with them. Because the reaction that they want is they want you to get frustrated and they want you to get angry and they want you to crash out because it feeds into their negativity. Anybody who outwardly or profusely disrespects people online, you know, like the troll comments, are either bored, broke, or broken. One of the three. All right, guys. So the best move is to ignore it. That's for online. All right, G, it's a simple move. You don't even have to say anything. Or you can block them for that matter, whatever you got to do. So if somebody DMing you, messaging you, writing in your comments, whatever it is, bro, ignore them. Simple as that. Because this is the thing, I give you an example. Let's say like you a YouTuber and you get like hate comments or people disrespecting you online or anything like that. Bro, you got to understand in situations like this, people benefit you by you choosing to ignore them. Because on a typical YouTube video, the more the comments, the more what? The more it get pushed in the algorithm. So the more people comment, no matter if it's hate or no matter if it's admiration, it's still worth it for you. All right, so the best move is to ignore it. Because the simple fact about life, you can't go through the world, G, unless you stay in the house and become a hermit and an incel introvert and don't come out your room. That's the only way you can avoid it. But you can't go through the world without people disrespecting you. People would not care to know your first name before they choose to disrespect you. All right, G. So, moving on. Number 2, interpersonal. Now, fellas, online is easy, but this one is one that you really got to understand: emotional intelligence. Stoicism, emotional control, emotional fortitude, mental strength, whatever you want to call it. But you got to get a gauge, G, on your emotions and your ego. All right? And you got to understand, every time somebody says something, pay attention, G. This is a gem. It's very simple, but write it down. Every time somebody says something, it is not worth a reply. And when I say that, you agree with me. But the only thing that's contesting that and objecting that notion and that theory that we both just agree with is your ego. That's the only thing. Because you know most things people say really don't matter at the end of the day. You going to forget about it. Shit, they going to forget about it in the next 5 minutes. So why even say anything? I always say this, bro. If it's not going to matter in the next 5 to 10 years, I really don't care about it. Now, like I said, sometimes it is personal. So sometimes you got to pull somebody aside, because if you give somebody the habit of saying some type of certain shit to you, gee, it ain't going to end well. Like I tell you guys all the time, I got this thing about my name. Don't call me out my name. So if anybody calls me out my name other than Keith, KD, or Mr. Davis, I'm checking you on sight. Why? Because it's disrespectful to me, because I call you by your name and I will never call you out your name. The only thing out your name I will call you is either G, Brov, or Bruv. That's it. I will never call you anything other than that. So if you call me anything other than my name, a G Brova bruv, I'm checking you. Why? Because it's disrespectful to me. That's my standards. So like I said, there's a difference. Now, this is not instilling fear in people. This is just checking boundaries and giving them your standards if they're going to be able to deal with you, all right, G? But in a certain case, all right? Now, remember I talked about the difference between constructive criticism and outright disrespect? There's also a difference between a woman just saying some dumb shit and her outright disrespecting you. All right, guys, sometimes you got to relax, bro, and stop getting so easily offended. And sometimes let women have a small little emotional reaction and you not say anything and just let her do her thing. As long as she don't come at you crazy, start disrespecting you really, and you know what I'm talking about, start bending your rules and not following your rules and not getting on your program, and she's still giving it up, as long as she's still going by that, G, you good. But a lot of you guys, every time your girl blink an eye, you trip. Some of you guys got this alpha thing too OD, bro. All right? Sometimes you just got to ignore women. All right? And I'm talking about in the case of you guys in a relationship. So get out your ego. All right, fellas? You ain't King Tut. I ain't never met a woman who just ain't going to say anything. All right, fellas? Sometimes they going to talk shit. Now, like I said, there's a limit. So if you tell her to stop, and she stop, it's all good. But if she start talking shit, as long as she ain't saying no dumb stuff, and you know what out of line mean, fellas. Like sometimes my girl say some stuff and I laugh it off, G. You know, and she understand that I'm unbothered by it. Why? Because she's just a female. Ain't nothing she can do or say to hurt me. Literally, nothing she can do or say to hurt me or make me feel less of a man. Now, unless she gets off my program and starts not doing what I say, yes, now we got a problem. Now I got to pull you aside, baby girl. But other than that, G, ain't really a big deal. You feel me? The real G's understand what I'm talking about. All right, now, let's move on to the most important part, which is the workplace, all right? A commonly asked question that I get a lot is how to handle workplace disrespect. Now, this is one where you also got to take your ego out of it. And another thing is you can't take it too personal. All right, guys, don't take workplace disrespect too personal. Just like any other type of disrespect or any other scenario where you will face disrespect, most of the time, the disrespect you're getting is not about you. It's always about the person. Now, there are things that you can do that are disrespectful, and then the person retaliates with disrespect. But if you chilling, G, doing your thing, and then somebody just come out the blue, stepping out of line with you, most of the time understand it's not about you. It's about how the person really feels about themselves. So I'm going to show you how this works. And I talked to you guys about this before, and I got this from my football coach. And he told me that you need to wipe your face. All right? And what wipe your face means, and how I relate to football is when you go into practice, I don't care how class was. This was in college, G. I don't care how bad class was. I don't care if you failed the test. I don't care if your girlfriend broke up with you. I don't care if your dog died. I don't care what happened, G. You wipe your face before you come into practice. So how I related that to with work when I started working corporate was before I go to work, or before I step into my office, I need to wipe my face. So let's say early that morning, I argue with my chick. Most men go to work and they still got that on their mind, so they carry that negative energy with them all the way from 9 to 5. And everybody else at work can feel the energy, and everybody else at work got to suffer the repercussions of this dude not wiping his face. So the reason why I said that, I'm landing my plane, G. Stick with me. The reason why I said that is most people don't wipe their face when they go to work. So this is why you may face workplace disrespect, because I guarantee you if everybody wiped their damn face before they got to work, 99% of drama workplace would not happen. Most people carry the issues from home over into work. Guarantee you 99%. So the reason why I said that, I'm landing another plane. If you can understand that most people don't wipe their face, you can understand not to take it so personal. All right. Now, as I said, you still got to pull people aside and address it. So after work, you may have to pull Mrs. Johnson or Mr. Johnson or Mr. Thomas or Mrs. Andrews aside and let he or she know that you ain't about them games in or out of work. So the next time y'all at the work meeting, don't come at me sideways like that, because I will snatch you up. And I couldn't tell you that inside the office because I get an HR case, but I'm letting you know now. And I'm not adding you on Facebook, so stop sending me friend requests. Sometimes you got to do that. All right, G? At times. It's the corporate shit, bro. That's how it is. This is why I don't work corporate anymore, bro. I told you I'm a retired crash out. And this is something big I want to talk about. There will be times when either your coworkers, your colleagues, or even your boss, and this is usually will come from your boss, and they will undermine your work profusely, constantly, consistently, G. And this is usually in toxic workplace environments where your work is constantly undermining. You're doing the best that you can. You're showing up on time. You're doing everything you can do to be the best employee, but you're still not getting the respect you deserve, or you're getting disrespected. Now, I'm going to be honest. You should not ignore this. Why? Because that's where you work. 9 times out of 10, you spend more time there than you do at your actual job. You spend more time with your employees than you do with your family. So you got to understand, some situations, like I said, you got to have the capability to instill fear in people with force, with rage. Sometimes you got to sit them down and have an intense logical conversation. So fellas, here's the truth. That may be what you need to do in order to gain the respect at your job. You may need to sit people down or pull them aside and not be afraid of confrontation. You can't be whining about disrespect if you're afraid of confrontation. So like I said, you got to face the beast at times. There's sometimes you can ignore it, like the online stuff. And sometimes you can laugh it off, like when your girl just popping shit when she on her period or something. But at times, you may have to pull people aside and snatch them up and say, G, you got one more, y'all said that, you got one more time, G, and you're through. Sometimes you got to put the fear of God in people, bro. Sometimes you got to do it. It's a necessity in some moments. And this is the thing, too. I'll give you a hack in life. A big way to avoid a majority of the disrespect that you face. I'm going to be honest with you guys, and I'm telling you this from self-experience. I don't get tested a lot, and I know why. One of the biggest reasons why is because physicality. Guys, if you get strong and jacked and you look scary, it's less chances that people are going to test you. This is human nature, guys. This is primitive. So you got to understand this. This ain't all about ignoring and talking people down and laughing shit off. Sometimes that ain't enough. All right, G? Sometimes people got to look at you and say, nah, I really don't want to pick that fight. All right, guys, because people are smart. Some people are dumb. Some people don't care. Some people don't care how big you is, how good you know how to fight. It don't matter, G. But for the most part, most people who be popping off, they ain't going to test you in person. Now, online, it's free game, bro. Anybody can talk. That's why it don't even matter, bro. Online, you will get it from anybody, bro. It can be the smallest, weakest, nerdiest dude in the world. He will give you the business online. Ain't nothing you can really do about it other than what? Say something back? And if he better at typing than you, G, he won. All right, fellas? But in the real world, G, most people ain't going to test you if you jack. I'm going to be honest with you. It's simple as that. And most people ain't going to test you if you know how to fight as well. All right, guys. Now, at the end of the day, I don't care if you jack. If you don't know how to fight, you're getting dropped. So you got to be able to back it up. So this is why you need both. And this is all wrapped up in the physicality. So this is why this is necessary. And this would avoid a lot of disrespect. Not all of it, because like I said, sometimes people don't care. But a lot of it will. And another tip is your relationships. Online, like I said, you can't do nothing about it. So since you can't do nothing about it, why care? But interpersonal, guys, you have to understand. I already told you what to do for workplace. But interpersonal, you got to understand, you are choosing the people that you have in your life. So if you have anybody who is constantly disrespecting you and you keep trying to find out what to do and you keep trying all these ways and different strategies and techniques, guys, get rid of the person at that point. You know what I'm saying? If they can't find a way to respect you and you can't find a way to get them to respect you and it just ain't working, just get rid of them. Simple as that. Ain't no philosophical answer I can give you for it, G. Just get rid of them, no matter who they are. I don't give a damn if it's your dog. Dog don't want to stop barking, kick his ass out. Simple as that. All right, fellas? So, I appreciate you guys for tuning in today. Share this with a homeboy who this will help out. All right, guys? It's your boy, KD. We out here, baby.